I just like that it's. I mainly like it for my alt account, so because I can actually like compete in this meta. I think it's good for like newer players as well because
Yeah, yeah,
Ultra League can be very inaccessible.
yeah. It's
With
a
all the XLs and legendaries and everything. I think this is just a nice refresher. It reminds me sort of like old Ultra League, you know?
of old Ultra League, so like pre Go Beyond Ultra League.
Exactly. That's when
Um,
I was first getting into Ultra League. So like Empoleon and um, Dragonite, um, Gallade, Gengar. Yo, what's up, Pogo Ash? How are you
hey
doing?
Ash. How many or how different do you think that will be with the changes for this season? Before we look into it properly,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like the only main difference I'm thinking is just Walrein might be less popular,
prevalent.
right?
Yeah.
Which will make Trevenant a bit better. But I really I had a built some things before Walrein came in for this league specifically that
Mm-hmm.
weren't as good with Walrein in there. So maybe they'll be a bit, maybe
Ooh.
Swampert's a little better now.
Yeah.
Maybe Nitto Queen is a little better. Um, get your hundo Nitto Queens out. So
Um. Now I know Logan Rocket gave me this one, and I have never forgotten it, and I bring it up all the time. Um. Shadow Swampert against Trevenant in Great League. The Trevenant will faint to 2 Hydro Cannons there.
sure.
I know Ultra League is bulkier. Do you know if that's the same thing? If the same thing will happen?
I have no idea, but I know that I the other day I took out a Trevenant with a normal Swampert with
Oh
three
wow,
Hydro Cannons.
wow.
So maybe two Hydro Cannons and like a couple mud shots.
Mm.
Not sure. We can check, but
Yeah, sure. Um, that'll probably be one of the first things we do check. I do want to
as you
just
can see, Trevenant is the number
number
one
one. Yeah.
Pokemon in the meta. So I definitely have a couple teams that in mind that are pretty strong against Trevenant.
hmm
So
I did want to just chat generally for a couple of minutes, just to let people
sure.
come in. But yeah, we will like absolutely get in deep with like I like
Yeah,
how
I have.
yeah
Mhm.
I was gonna say I like how the top 2 Pokemon are like Hundo non-XL, so like stuff that you would normally XL for Ultra League. But
Well, Trev isn't needed. You don't need a hundo, but you need like maybe like 10, 10, 15,
yeah,
15 or
right,
something like
right.
that. It's not quite a hundo, but what's the best Trev core? With Walrein, of course, right? Isn't that the best Trev core? You just stick a
Yeah,
Trevenant
still
with a Walrein. There's no Scrafty in this. There is
there is
Obstagoon.
Obstagoon, yeah.
But
And
maybe people
Obstagoon doesn't
built
look too
those.
bad.
Yeah, it's okay. There's the thing about Ultra League Premier Classic is this is when Sirfetch'd and Machamp come out to play, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yeah,
Um, and Gallade even with the close combat, which it's kind of a bait dependent matchup, but still not comfortable for the Obstagoon.
yeah. I really like Gallade without Giratina being around,
I
and
have some teams quite weak to Gallade.
yeah,
Possibly triple weak to Gallade. So we usually don't win if we see Gallade,
yeah,
but
right. I
I
remember,
think it's not quite even as common as it used to be, even though it is ranked so high. Um, but I guess it's something you have to test
mm-hmm,
once the meta starts up, right? So
totally, totally. All right, so let's do it. So Trevenant is number one now.
for sure, it's just probably can almost beat everything. Like
Mhm.
other than like the normal types, even like I guess Walren's maybe still favorable for Walren in Ultra League, but like now with the nerf, you're pacing at the same time, right?
Trouble is, with that one, I think you're able to tank a Seed Bomb comfortably enough, whereas the Trevenant can't really tank an Icicle Spear plus all the Powder Snows.
Is it able to beat the Shadow or not able
Let's
to
see.
beat the Shadow? Just curious, because the Shadow is ranked higher. Okay, it still
loses, yeah. But like,
yeah, because
how comfortably could you really tank that? Like, if you've gotten a bit of chip from the previous matchup, then like you're still not gonna want to tank that Seed Bomb.
Does a lot, yeah.
47%. That's the Shadow.
What about the 2 shield? Does Talon or does Trev win both 2 shields?
Yes.
So wins this one. Well, what about the regular? First, the regular.
No.
Okay, still loses the 2 shield first Walren.
But it wins the zeros. But overall, like, this is a really interesting
Yeah, because you win CMP, right? So you would get to the second 2 C bombs with KO.
Yeah, and you're surviving the Icicle Spear plus powders. Yeah. But like, there's so much play between these two Pokemon. I love it.
Yeah, it is a very interesting matchup.
But
it beats like a lot of things, you know, as you can see there. Very top picks in the meta.
Is there anything non-normal that you have to really worry about? Like, how many Darks are going to be prevalent?
I think mainly just Obstagoon. I'm trying to remember back to...
Overquill is new?
Oh, right. I did see that when I was looking at the rankings. Overquill is new.
And Honchkrow is weirdly high in the rankings.
I think people were using Honchkrow just because they were so pissed off with Trevenant before. But I don't think it does very many other things very well, personally.
Yeah, yeah.
You can try it if you want. You know, if Walren's popular, then Honchkrow is not going to be good.
No good,
but if Walren's not popular, then maybe Honchkrow has play.
Yeah, right. So
I would probably use, if you want a Dark type, I'd probably use Muck over Honchkrow.
Honchkrow, yeah. Out of Obstagoon, and Obstagoon, Muck, and Overquill, what are you leaning towards so far?
I think it depends what you want, because Obstagoon has the counter, right? So it just really depends. And the other two are neutral from fighting, so I think it just depends on your team comp. But
what about like
I like Muck a lot.
Could you have ABB with Overquill and Muck? And what would you put as the third?
Probably Trev.
Like that. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, you need it's a common line in Ultra League. It's like Trev double Dark Poison or something like that.
Right.
Because then you need something for Swampert. You need something for the Steel types. There's not a lot of Steel types. Although I feel like Steelix could be a little bit of a core breaker for that team, but
yeah. And Steelix is usable here as a non-XL. Number 12.
I think Psychic Banks help it a lot. But it is not XL, but you do need a hundo or close to it.
Yes.
It doesn't even get quite up there. I do have a hundo, but it's at level 50. And it's
no. You rip. Alright, so next up is Nitto Queen. Actually, Nitto Queen would be a reasonable check to that Trevenant double Dark Poison line.
Yeah, I think Nitto Queen is one of my favorites to use, especially if Walren usage is down. I was a big proponent of alternate movesets on Nitto Queen in this cup.
So what, Stone Edge?
Yes.
Is there any other alternate moveset that you could possibly run?
You could run like Sludge Wave, I guess, if you really wanted to get crazy.
Bite Nitto Queen?
Or Earthquake. Bite, yeah. Stone Edge is very interesting because So it says you lose to Trev, but you actually beat Trev if you land a Stone Edge, because then you can
Is that
just
right?
farm down.
And you don't have to Poison Fang first?
Nope.
That's really interesting.
You do have to figure out if they're gonna throw a Shadow Ball or not.
Sure.
If they land a Shadow Ball, it gets a little dicey because it does quite a bit of damage. But if you can call a bait or something and land a stone, because they're most likely not going to shield the first one.
Yeah, that's what I was
They're not
thinking.
expecting Stone Edge,
Yeah.
right? And it does quite a bit of neutral damage to them. So
yeah, that's huge. But it would decrease your viability against the dark poisons.
poison is rough. Poison types are rough. With some of the lines I was running, Nitto Queen is quite difficult to deal with.
Interesting. I mean, like, not that big a loss against Gallade or Excavalier.
Yeah. Excavalier is interesting because you kind of need the bait, but like if you're the Excavalier, you don't need to shield the bait. We're talking about Master League? No, we are talking about Ultra League Premier Classic, which means that there is no legendaries or anything powered up over level 40 unless you're using Best Buddy Boost, which can get you up to 41.
So yeah, what do you know about the Nitto Queen Escav matchup? Oh, and are you running Megahorn here or Acid Spray?
Yeah, I think you want Megahorn.
Yeah.
It's just so good. What are they simming there?
This is regular Nitto Queen versus Escav.
Straight Earth Power?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like a drill run does quite a bit of damage. You're both resisting the fast moves.
Only 55%. I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah, but the counters are doing more than the
poison jabs.
Poison jab, right? Because it's double resisted.
I mean,
1.1% more.
3 damage versus 4 damage.
Yeah, I think it's a very close matchup. If you can get a bait off, you could probably win it. But typically, as the Excavalier user, you would not. It's similar to the G-Fisk matchup where you can survive a Earth Power. But if you shield a bait, then you don't.
I find this so weird. The Earth Power from Nitto Queen doing 51%, the super effective Drill Run doing 55%. That's very close. Just shows how glassy Escav is. Or how tanky
Drill Run's
Nitto
also
is.
45 energy, though.
As opposed to the 55.
It's
yeah. That's fair enough. Rhonda says, I'm trying hard to understand this. Sorry, I watch what I can. That's fair enough. Sorry if we go a little advanced.
This is going to be the upcoming Ultra League meta starting on Thursday. So we're just going over some of the top Pokemon and some of their matchups, so you could just get a idea of how it goes. Basically, this one's positive for Excavalier, but that is the problem with Excavalier is that it can beat things. Even if you have a team triple weak to it, it won't be able to beat the whole team, right?
With this Gallade matchup, it's showing that you're throwing the second Leaf Blade to KO, but would you probably just Confusion down? Come out of that with actually no, you lose there.
Yeah, you lose.
Yeah, wow. So you have to throw the Leaf Blade. So that's pretty good to know.
Yeah, Shadow Gallade, you win very easily because the Confusion does so much damage, right?
So that's probably very important. Because, like, I expect Nitto Queen to be pretty popular.
I think it will be. Key losses, Poliwrath, Balrin, Trevenant, very tight.
Yeah, which, no surprises there.
Mud Slappers? Can we get a Mud Slapper?
A Mud Slapper?
Maybe you want to try out your... maybe you guys want to try out your Gigalith? You know? Yeah, your Gigalith.
There we go.
Your Dolphin.
Get that Don fan. Let's go. Does Excadrill know Mud Slap?
Yep.
It does. Wow.
I use it for rockets with Mud Slap.
Yeah, right.
On Donphan is I have one built for Ultra League already, so I could.
Hey Rhonda. Yeah. Or hey Cray.
Crazy.
Yes,
Crazy
Cray
Flamingo?
Flamingo is in the GoCast community.
Okay. No problem. Welcome in.
Good to see you.
Crocodile. Yeah, there you go.
Crocodile, yeah, let's run that
That's
Crocodile.
a dark type.
Okay, so are you actually thinking of using a ground type as your Nitto Queen counter to handle your Nitto Queens? No? Not even Mamoswine?
I'll figure out how to hand out Nitto Queen when I get it. When I get against it.
I mean, there's your Walrein.
You might have. Usually with things like that, like you can see they don't have like a top, like very hard losses. You kind of need to tag team them.
I mean, Walrein has pretty good matchups against both, I guess.
Yeah, not if you're running Stone Edge though. Oh,
true.
you farm something down. They don't shield. You Stone Edge the crap out of them.
Swampert. Shadow is a point
popular,
better than
right?
yeah, of course. Like whenever it's eligible.
It's just good. Shadow probably. Good matchups against Nitto Queen for sure. That's probably the better ground type. If you wanted to use one.
Who's your data says Steelix, Trev, Escav. So you're going ABA Steel. One of those steals
triple weak to fire.
And triple weak to fire. How much fire is there though?
I think Charizard, but is pretty common, I'd say. Como, I think, has flamethrower, which no one will run.
Yeah, Blaziken and Charizard.
Luxray has hidden power, I believe. Hidden power of fire. Shadow Lax, yeah. Very good. Shadow Lax is always good. Blaziken, I think, or Charizard are basically going to be your two fire types.
I'm liking the idea of Blaziken. Maybe not, because it's a fire that would lose to Trev, wouldn't it? I imagine it'd lose to Trev in like the ones.
That would be very interesting. It might be bait dependent because
Let me look that up.
your now make sure we're in level 40 Ultra League here.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Blaziken does lose with the bait.
Close.
It does. Looks like you can tank a Blaze Kick.
Yeah, you can take a Blaze Kick.
I'm surprised by that.
Trev's pretty good against the fighting types. Unless you're running like a nuke or something. Like a Brave Bird. Possibly you could one-shot it.
So what happens if you try and go straight Shadow Ball?
You can just change it to baiting off as well.
Yeah.
Which would do the same thing, but... Options.
Yes.
Options.
Yeah, you are still winning that, so you don't have to bait there. You can go straight Shadow.
Even if... What happens if they have Brave Bird? Can they get to a Brave Bird and CMP them?
And they do win CMP comfortably?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
CMP, then you could also minus that Seed Bomb damage too. So Blaziken would come into that with pretty decent health.
Yeah. Good point. But then...
the Trev's always bait though, just a pro tip for everyone out there. Don't shield the move against the Trevenant. They will bait you.
Especially against a high attack Pokemon, like your Blaziken.
Yeah.
Because they're going to think, oh yeah, even the Seed Bomb will get them in farmable range. Do we have anything else to say about Swampert, though? It's going to be great against your Blazikens. That's actually not that bad against Wall Rain if it baits and lands the Earthquake. But then, like, are they ever going to shield the first one? Probably not.
They might.
They might, but
I feel
balance
like
of probabilities.
they're unlikely to bait the first one. So, because they're also unlucky.
So that would make
like
you want to shield the first.
From a Shadow Swampert, you might shield it because like how much does an Earthquake do? It probably does a lot. They're looking
56.
at the wrong one.
That's yes, you're right.
That's well then.
61.
So does quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, and then
does over half. So if you land an Earthquake, you can probably just start going Hydro Cannon on it.
Yeah, because Mudshot's doing 2%. So here we go. By the time you get to Earthquake, you've already done 16% damage. If that lands, you're now at 77%. And Hydro Cannon's doing 25, so you are in range.
Again, no shield debates. This is the lesson for all of you.
Field Super, hey? Part of the actual Pallet community and the North American faction, Field Super.
Been liking Swampert, Crest, Talonflame, and Open. Think Ho-Ho could replace Talon. Ho is ineligible, Slifer, but thank you for trying. It is a
no deal.
Legendary Pokemon. I think if you want a flying, we have flying fire type, and its name is
Charizard.
It is Charizard, and I like it quite a bit. Blast Burn hits very hard.
Got a few flyers here.
Yeah, Gyarados I also like a lot. Shadow Gyarados preferably.
It'd be great. I mean, so it's one of those ones that, like, yeah, the Aqua Tails put a lot of pressure on Nitto Queen, but so does the Poison Jab, Poison Fang combo on the Gary, especially the Shadow.
And yeah, Shadow Gyarados is just kind of like a bit of an all-arounder. With the Dragon Tail, I prefer Dragon Tail, but Dragon Breath, Aqua Tail Crunch, it kind of has play against a lot of different things. Like, you're a water type, you can deal with some, you have play against some grass, you have play against the dragons, you have play against the ghosts and the dark, even some of the dark types too, so.
And really that's all you can ask for, is to have play, even if it doesn't get the outright wins. Like, you can, and that's just on paper really, like, you can get the Gyarados in positions where it's closing out battles for you.
Yeah, I did a practice battle earlier today with someone, and I was trying to farm up to 2 moves and throw the Crunch on the CMP with Venusaur. It was like a full health scenario, but I had 1 shield. They had 0, and the Crunch left them with like 3 HP maybe.
Wow.
And they got off the frenzy, the second frenzy, to KO me, so it was a little annoying, but
there was a time when I was using, like, Gyarados as my safe switch, and I would love it when they switched in a Venusaur to try and counter the Gary, because, like, I forgot what the situation was, but, like, if I double shielded and I think baited once with an Aqua Tail, I think I could flip that matchup.
Yeah, you might need a couple shields, because Frenzy does a crap ton of damage. So.
Yeah.
I think here, Shadow Nitto Queen is like kind of a little less likely to have, because you do need, it's harder to get, much harder to get, right? Because you need to basically have close to a Hundo Shadow.
Yeah.
I have one that I could build, but I don't think I'm going to
spend that dust.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to spend the dust on it. I have to check, because if you don't necessarily need a Hundo Nitto Queen, you can also have like I think their rank 1 you can have a best buddy Nitto Queen.
If I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna spend the resources to build one, I'd want to go as close to the Hundo as possible.
Yeah,
but then, like, I guess you could say that about, like, we talk about, or I don't know about you, I talk about with with stuff that you do need the low attack stat for, like just build whatever the best rank is that you've got. Like it's fine. So I guess that would be the same with these ones that you need a hundo for, right?
Yeah. Well, the best shadow one I have is a 13, 15, 15. Is the perfect Nitto Queen worth the dust? I think it is, because they keep bringing this cup back, and like Nitto Queen is so good. Just make sure you don't power it up over 40. But like I have one that I've been basically using ever since this cup first came around, and it's been putting in quite a bit of work.
So yeah, perfect.
I think the rank one
perfect
is...
Nitto Queen gets to 2488.
Right. So if you sim for the max at 41, I think it's like 13 or 14 attack, I think.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, 13, 15, 15, and then level 41. Technically the rank 1, but then you probably lose CMP to a hundo, so...
I think so. So,
yeah,
153.4. 154,
yep.
yeah.
So you would lose CMP, which is kind of a big deal. But then again, if you do have a shadow, it's she has the perfect baby. Well, that's good. Yeah, I have one as well. So actually, I have two, but one is going to be a Nidorino.
I mean, everyone thinks their baby's perfect, but
that is true. That is true.
Dragonite.
I think it's a lot better now with superpower.
It
like,
is.
A lot better.
Is it as good as the ranking suggests? I feel like that's one that you've got to be super careful with, because like it can be outplayed by the Trevenant, it can be outplayed by Nitto Queen. Swampert not as much.
Yeah. It's just good fast move pressure, good shield pressure, and like with the superpower, you can nuke a Walrein. Now you have the ability to land super effective damage on one of its hardest counters, right?
Yeah, which is huge. And so this is saying Dragon Breath too. Which is really interesting. So, what I read recently, which of course, like I knew a little bit about, but never really put two and two together, was the idea of damage rounding, which is, for those who don't know, when the damage calculation is worked out by the game, damage can only be done in whole numbers. So once you work out the damage formula, if it comes to like 68.5 damage, then it'll round up to the nearest whole number. And so Dragon Breath, being a one-turn fast move, one-turn fast moves tend to benefit from damage rounding a fair amount, because they're doing more damage than what they would say on paper every single turn. And so I think that's why a lot of these Dragon Tail Pokemon are recommending Dragon Breath instead, because once you factor that in, it's probably doing more damage overall.
Technically, I think, I don't know. It's weird because certain Pokemon I prefer Dragon Tail on, certain I prefer Dragon Breath. I don't know if that seems weird.
No, like, not at all.
Some of the Glacier Dragon types, like the pure dragons, I prefer Dragon Breath. But like Gyarados, I actually prefer Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail does do more damage per turn.
Yeah, on paper.
Technically. Well, okay, sure. And it generates the same amount of energy, right? So you're not losing anything energy-wise.
Yeah.
It's maybe the Dragon Tail's not as good now because people can't deny. So before it was a little better when you were able to deny, but I still like Dragon Tail. It has its pros and cons. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I do like Dragon Breath. The ability to like sneak in the one turn is also really nice. So like if you throw a move and it leaves them on like very low HP, you can like Dragon Breath down before they can tap the move or something like that.
Yeah. I want to give a mention to Get It Done, who says F Ultra League dropped 500 points, which is just brutal. And Herm says Lapras. Thinking of Lapras.
Yeah, Lapras is good. If Walren's usage is down, Lapras is good because it has play against the dragons. Lapras is actually slightly worse against Trevenant, but still good.
I mean, I like the look of Lapras so far. Like, looking at all the Pokemon we've looked at so far, like, it is pretty darn good against your Swampert. It would be pretty darn good against your Nitto Queen. Trevenant...
I don't think you could go without Skull Bash just because of the other ice types in the meta. Like Walren's still going to be quite popular. And if you don't have Skull Bash, you're in big trouble.
I think Ice Beam is only really better for Dragon Heavy metas.
Ice Beam used to be preferred in Open, but that's because Walren wasn't around and Giratina was everywhere, right?
Yeah, so Dragon Heavy.
But now that Walren's everywhere, like, if you don't have it, you just get collapsed so hard against... Like, you could run that, but you would have to find a way to beat Walren with the rest of your team.
Yeah. So, definitely recommend Skull Bash. Get It Done has a rank 15 Queen. Rank 15. Is that rank 15 for Open Ultra?
Yeah, just keep in mind this is no XLs for this specific cup that we're going to be talking about. So
don't make that mistake. Don't build it up to like level 48 and go, oh no, what have I done?
You can still build it. It's still good in
regular
Ultra League. And there will be an Ultra League premiere, I think, later on in the season, if I remember correctly.
An Ultra League like premiere with no Classic.
Is that coming? Let me just check once. And the leaderboards are out today too. Just keep
cool.
that in mind. Yeah, see, November 10th to 17th is going to be Ultra League premiere.
Yep, you're right. So there you go. The XL Nitto Queen has played there.
It's been so long since we've had Ultra Premiere. I kind of miss it. Remember we used to even have Ultra League Remix too?
Yeah, that was fun.
Those were
that was
fun
good.
metas.
Yeah. I mean, they don't trash any. They never trash anything. They always bring stuff back.
Back in those metas. I've been keeping both XL and non-XL built. Yes, good idea. That's the same as for me as well. My XL one is a shadow. My non-XL one is regular. So Como O is kind of a new addition.
Yeah.
I don't think we had this last time, and it looks pretty good as well.
See, against everything we've looked at so far, I'm liking Dragonite more than Como O. I don't know how many applications that close combat will have, apart from, having that weapon against the wall rain that we talked about with Dragonite.
I think it's like a little bulkier than Dragonite, which could help it in certain scenarios. And
3880 versus 3525. So yeah, a little bit bulkier.
Yeah, it could help it in certain scenarios. And the fighting subtyping can also help it too in certain times, like against I don't know, for instance, like any dark types or something like that. Like let's say a muck or something like that, right? So they can't really the dark move is going to be resisted, right? So or let's say a Kanto muck, then you would resist electric and dark. So the Kanto muck you kind of wall, right? So there is definitely going to be some benefits to the Como O over the Dragonite.
Sure.
Also, the single super effective ice damage
as opposed to the double,
and you can survive a icicle spear on Como O.
I imagine the Wall Rain would also be able to survive a superpower from Dragonite, where it probably couldn't with a close combat.
I think it still survives a close combat from full health. Probably.
Against the normal 69% damage plus the Dragon Tails though.
Yeah, from full health it would, but yeah, with the if you like Como probably wins this matchup with baiting. Or no, it's saying it loses because it doesn't get to the move. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
It's
it's
a
still
little
losing.
slower.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
generates energy slower, right? So you would need a bit of an energy lead. It says one turn can flip this scenario. So if you swap in and they're like a dragon tail behind, you can possibly flip it in the one shield with a bait.
Let me test that out. It does survive Shadow Wild Charge from what Pokemon? I mean, probably from most Pokemon.
Electivire?
I mean,
very close
is there any tanky Wild Charge user?
Wild Charge user? I don't know. There's some decently. I think Ampharos is one of the bulkiest electric types we have currently.
But it doesn't know Wild Charge. It's Thunder Punch, Focus Blast.
Doesn't. Zap Cannon.
And Zap Cannon. Even with that
Mew?
one
Mew
turn
is super
lead,
bulky, right? It beats it. See, I wasn't wrong.
I mean, you're practically wrong. Close enough to
No.
being wrong, so that we can officially say Lyle is wrong.
No, I'm never wrong. Yeah, so it depends on, like, all the dragons are definitely have their pros and their cons. I think it just depends on the rest of your team and what you need added coverage against. Do you need better do you want a slightly better matchup with Walrein, or do you need better matchups against like some of the dark types possibly, right? So
right.
Maybe Como O is a better pair with Trevenant, possibly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, possibly. All right. So then, Stizzler is a new addition. How does this fit into the meta?
I don't know, because this thing is always ranked high in all the rankings, but I never see it.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just very glassy and it's hard to use. And it's a very like bait dependent Pokemon. If you look at the consistency, like it's pretty low, right?
The consistency.
What is the consistency?
That is 69 consistency.
So that's pretty low. Like if you go look at like Walrein, let's say, or something else that's like, or Trevenant, maybe the consistency, you will see that it's like a lot higher probably.
Yep, 89% consistency for Walrein.
So that does matter too, because that is kind of like how much does it matter if you're reading your opponent correctly, if you think they're going to shield, or if they call a bait, something like that, right?
Right. So it's only getting its wins with the close combat then. You can't just like straight X's or anything. Does the typing help it in any way?
It's kind of like Toxicroak, right?
So like, don't get it in against the Gallades. What if? Okay, so could you maybe run Aerial Ace and use it as a Trevenant counter with Shadow Claw and Aerial Ace, and your close combat for everything else?
Yeah, you probably could. I don't know how well it would like hold up, just because again, like it's super glassy. Like I feel like the Shadow Claws from Walrein are going to be doing almost just as much.
Yeah, got to watch out for those Shadow Claws from Walrein.
And Aerial Ace. Oh, sorry, I think you meant Trevenant. That's my bad. I against Walrein, I don't know. Aerial
no. I was talking about Trevenant.
Oh, I said Walrein.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I just got confused because I was thinking like Aerial Ace is higher energy, right? So it definitely will probably even lower some of the consistency with the reason you have like the X scissors like 35 energy, whereas Aerial Ace is what? How much energy is that? It's
45.
more though, I know. Right. So it definitely makes it even a little tougher to use probably. Well, it's probably slightly better coverage because X-Scissor hits what? Grass, super effective, and Dark. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's super useful.
And for Dark, you've got close combat anyway.
Yeah, and most of the grass is like Nitto Queen, which is grass poison. So at that point, X-Scissor is only neutral anyways.
I'm sorry, what?
Hmm?
Can you say that again?
Grass is grass poison. X-Scissor is neutral.
Yeah. And then Nitto Queen is grass poison.
Oh god, I meant Venusaur. I meant Venusaur.
You're like Niantic, just throwing out all the different avatars.
Sorry, I was distracted there for a second. Yeah, exactly. Nitto Queen. It's the Hisuian Nitto Queen.
Hisuian
right?
Nitto Queen grass poison. Let's go. Okay, so Surfetched, our first counter user, I believe.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites to use in this cup. I think it's very glassy, but it's super good because of the leaf blade. Helps you a lot for like Swampert and things like that. Walrein. And then you have the Brave Bird nuke, or you can also run with Night Slash.
Yeah.
I've run it with Night Slash Leaf Blade as a safe swap before. But I think I am leaning towards Brave Bird.
Yeah, Brave Bird makes it a better closer, and I think Night Slash Leaf Blade makes it a better safe switch.
It's interesting because like I don't think two Night Slashes, like even with Night Slash, you can't really beat Walrein or Trevenant because they like kind of outpace you, and if you tank a Seed Bomb, they can basically just farm you down.
That's a problem.
But they can survive one Night Slash. Even Gengar can survive a Night Slash.
So then I guess the way you'd play that is to build up to 10 and then throw the Brave Bird, hoping that they think it's a Night Slash?
Yeah, or bait it with a Leaf Blade, and then throw the other one. I'm not sure whatever you want to do, but
so they would beat you to 2 Seed Bombs before you could get to a Brave Bird and a Leaf Blade.
Maybe you can survive one. I don't know.
Let's find out.
That's a good question. I just remember there was a couple matchups where you where like I lost specifically because I had Night Slash and not Brave Bird. Because Brave Bird one shots Trev, especially end game, right?
So yeah, Night Slash doesn't
there we go.
flip you many matchups, but
Surfetch wins. Let's go.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Oh, that's because
Night Slash.
That's because it's trying to Shadow Ball first, though.
Yeah, because they know shield. They don't call the bait. Yeah, of course, if they Seed Bomb first, they're gonna get to the Shadow Ball.
Even just going Seed Bomb there, could you? How close do you get to? You're like 2 away from another one. Surfetched is winning CMP, so I guess you can pretty comfortably do that, unless they've got 3 Shadow Claws of lead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough, right?
It is, but I'm saying now it is pretty doable. Luxray. Specifically Shadow. Oh yeah, the regular is a little further down here, not too far down.
I don't know about that. If you guys want to run it, you feel free.
So it loses to everything above it. Except probably the Sneasler and the Surfetch, maybe.
It again probably has very low consistency. It's kind of a baiting thing. You know, you have the Psychic Fangs, you're debuffing your opponent. and then you have the Wild Charge nuke, right? So if you
Mm.
like playing those games, give it a shot. I'm sure you can get some nice, like, screenshots of landing a Wild Charge on a Trevenant and like one shotting from half health or something.
I like
Um,
this like rated 100 as a charger though. So if you do manage to get it into a situation where it's got an energy lead, like it can close out some battles for you.
oh, for sure. I think you definitely want the Shadow if you were to have one. Now that the Shadow is available. Unfortunately, I still don't even have a good Shadow, but
and you'd need the community day move on it as well. Of Psychic
yeah,
Fangs.
which you can elite TM if you really wanted to use it. Like, I think I saw Dialap using Luxray before in Ultra League, but
Okay.
He is definitely a lot better than me. So.
Luxray, I've always said Luxray is just Magnezone without the Steel typing.
Yeah.
And the ability to run Snarl.
Which has its pros and cons, right?
And the ability to debuff as well.
The Psychic Fangs is nice coverage because like Magnezone gets walled by like Nitto Queen, let's say. Whereas Luxray has the ability with Psychic Fangs. Maybe if you're running Snarl instead of Spark, you can, get to a couple Psychic Fangs, at least get a shield versus a Nitto Queen, as opposed to Magnezone, which is very one-sided. So
Steelix.
Yeah. I think it's just good.
Just good.
Psychic
Next
Fangs.
Pokemon.
We're looking at more Psychic Fang users, right?
Yeah. How does it go against Gallade? I'm interested in that. It just loses. I imagine that is with a Leaf Blade bait. It is. So, and like they would have to bait, like they're not gonna. And okay, so they're probably going to be unwilling, as the Gallade user, they're probably going to be unwilling to close combat first, because if you do shield that, then it makes it pretty easy to farm down with Dragon Tails.
Exactly. They can just Dragon Tail you down, right?
Yeah, but what happens if they close combat and it's unshielded for the first one? They do... Yeah, the Gallade does win.
Are you sure? Looks like it dies with the move.
The top one is Steelix. The bottom one's Gallade.
Oh, it still gets farmed down?
Yeah, by the look of it. And the Gallade has 3 HP left. So it can either...
If they don't throw that... What happens if they don't throw that second Psychic Fangs? Does that make any difference?
Why wouldn't they, though?
Maybe some move timing or something? They just go straight Dragon Tail?
Well, that's weird.
So then they simul KO, or
yeah?
No, Gallade gets to a move. Gallade gets to a move.
It does get to the move, yeah.
So it could, but if they threw, then the other thing could probably just shield and farm it down. So that's kind of interesting.
But then it's only got time to throw one move anyway.
Like if you throw the Leaf Blade there, let's say, at the very end.
Yeah, so then it's coming out of that with 6 HP. Like, you're probably not even going to be able to throw 2 Psychic Fangs.
Hey.
Computer's fine, but internet is being wonky.
Okay. Why don't you just keep going here? Yep.
Yeah, cool. So you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool.
Everything's fine. Not to worry.
Everything is awesome. So we were saying, yeah, the like even if you do shield that and survive, like you're not gonna get off 2 Psychic Fangs or a Psychic Fang and a Crunch. You're gonna like you won't even be able to take one move from the next Pokemon that comes in.
Right. Exactly. It's it's just something to consider.
Yeah.
Mhm. Perfect. Yeah, I think Steelix's looks pretty good. That's the thing about Gallade is it's like a fighting type, but with the confusion, it is kind of awkward in certain matchups,
It
like
can be.
Odds to Goon and like Steelix, like things like that, right? Whereas like if the opponent calls the right baits and stuff, then you can lose easily.
All right. Are you running Psychic Fang's Crunch or Psychic Fang's Earthquake?
Probably Crunch.
Do you still beat the Nitto Queen? I imagine you would just with Psychic Fangs, right? Yeah, you can tank an Earth Power. It's doing 50%. So you come out of that with like still a decent amount of HP. So that's nice. Yeah, I'm liking Steelix. It would be a great Dragonite counter, Como counter. Obviously.
Oh, I have to check my Steelixes now.
Oh, sorry, bud.
I shouldn't have. Well, no, I'm happy with my Onyx. That thing it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do have actually one. My Mega Steelix is a 98, but actually I have another Onyx that's a 15, 13, 15 lucky. So
Okay.
could possibly do that, right?
Possibly.
It's a lucky, so
then you'd have to pair it with something that comfortably beats Swampert and fighters. So probably your Trev.
Oh, Surfetched. I was a Trevenant, and it kind of destroyed that team. So the team has since been retired.
But as we've seen, Gallade's still plenty usable.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And this is why I love this meta, because Gallade used to be like the king of this meta, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Could you put it with like Snorlax? Would that be a good core?
Yep. Any anti-ghost would be good. And Snorlax also has the ability to be an anti-steel type. I love Snorlax, preferably the Shadow one, even in regular Ultra League now. I think it's really good because it has lots of play. And the Body Slam Superpower combo, it's like pretty nice coverage.
Yeah.
Even against like Excavalier or some of the fighting types, like you don't want to take a Body Slam or a Superpower.
What about Walrein? Again, we've been talking about that heaps already, so there might be.
Walrein. I have not used Walrein since the move update, so I am not quite sure.
A lot of people are the same.
It's not that I think it's bad. It's just that like I didn't use it like a ton before, and I'm just now that I'm not seeing it as much. It's allowing me to use other Pokemon that maybe before were a little tougher to use because of Walrein. But you can still see Walrein's rank 14, or Shadow Walrein's rank 14, regular is rank 20. Just be careful though, because some of the Walreins, specifically Shadow ones with not great IVs, might require some XLs to get it to 2500. So if you want to be on the safe side, just find one with a little bit of attack, like a couple bars of attack, and that will definitely
good advice.
Allow you to stay under the XL region. Because actually, the Shadow Walreins I have for Ultra League, they're not built yet, but they require like a few power-ups with XL.
Yeah.
Because of the IVs.
I didn't know that.
It's similar to Venusaur, actually. Venusaur can also require some XL, depending on your IVs that you have. So.
Shadowlax.
Yeah. Didn't we just talk about this thing? It's like the best Pokemon, in my opinion.
So great ghost counter.
This is the most well-rounded Pokemon in the meta.
Mm-hmm.
It has play against everything.
It's I don't actually think it provides that much shield pressure. I think that's an issue with it.
Depends on what you're going against. It doesn't provide shield pressure, but it wins a lot of neutral matchups because of its bulk and Body Slam is such a good move.
So then
they might not shield the first Body Slam, but they're gonna shield the second one.
So then, I mean, it's a pretty classic time-tested line going like Snorlax safe swap and then fighting counter in the back. So could you go like Trevenant and Snorlax? Is there any?
You could.
Is there
You could
anything that breaks
also
that?
do the Trevenant Snorlax.
Nitto Queen, maybe.
Yeah, Nitto Queen would be a little annoying. Haunch Crow maybe would be annoying since they're resisting your licks.
Gotta watch out for that Honchcrow.
Any sort of dark types would be kind of annoying. You could also go with like the wholesome underscore line, which he uses all the time. He's using right now in Open Ultra League, but it pairs over to this one, which is Shadow Machamp, Snorlax, and Muck. Alolan Muck. And he's right now, he's just hit expert. He's like 27 something on the leaderboards.
That's awesome.
It just goes to show you, like, if you learn a team really well and you know the ins and outs of it, and it still has play in the current meta, it doesn't matter if you have the XLs or not. You can win with it, but you also have to maybe play a little better than your opponents with the XLs, right? So
yeah. Next up, we have Excavalier. Now, I'm interested in the Excavalier versus Swampert matchup, to be honest. That seems like
you can win it if you land a Mega Horn.
Okay, so don't throw straight Drill Run. However, are they likely to shield?
I usually throw the Mega Horn first because if you land the Mega Horn, you can farm down. If they shield, you're going to lose the matchup anyways, right? So in my opinion, you might as well just throw the Mega Horn. Yeah. Sometimes they don't shield because they think it's a drill run. Because they know they can survive a drill run, right?
Yeah.
So you just throw the Mega Horn. Like you see, drill run does is 1.42 DPE, does 30 what percent Dex?
36.
And Mega Horn is
60 and 1.92.
Yeah,
which is a huge difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's a big move.
Yeah.
Like when you land that, like you can basically just shield and farm the rest of the way down.
Yeah. That's big. Right, so that's
you survive a Hydro Cannon pretty easily. So not easily, but it's
comfortably.
I think so. I think you can survive one Hydro.
Would you run it as your fighter of choice, or does Surf Edge still take that?
Oh, that's as a side note, that's another thing that Night Slash helps with is the Excavalier matchup.
Ah, yeah, cool.
If you're running for Surf Edge, like obviously you can Brave Bird the Escav.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to debuff yourself, Night Slash is very handy there as well. Maybe I will go back to Night Slash now. Yeah, it is. They both have their pros and their cons, right? Excavalier is a little clunkier because the moves are higher energy, so it doesn't quite have the same like spamminess as a Machamp or a Surf Edge. But it definitely has different coverage. It's not a fighting type, so it has play against Gallade. Like Gallade doesn't want to take it's neutral, but it doesn't want to take a Mega Horn either, right?
No.
You can beat Venusaur pretty easily with Escav. You can't do that with Surfetched or Machamp, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it just depends on your team comp.
With the Gallade matchup, the Gallade has to land the close combat, right? Because it can't win with Confusion Leaf Blade.
It's a baiting game
again. Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Casper de Cubo?
Hey, Cubo.
How are you doing? Yeah, bait game. Again, a lot of these are bait games, right?
Yeah, totally.
Which I had some good. I've been running a lot of Kingdra in the Weather Cup, and it's quite fun. I never used Kingdra before.
I agree. It's fun.
I'm a degenerate. I just build up to the outrage and I throw the Octazooka.
That's not degen.
It's degen.
It's not degen.
And they shield like 50% of the time.
So Goodra's an interesting one. I feel because like Goodra's good, but
I like Goodra a lot.
But it doesn't it's just outclassed by the other dragons, isn't it? Like, you'd
This
rather
is
run a
the
Dragonite,
this
right?
is the league. This is the league that Goodra is good
Yeah,
in my
why's
opinion.
that? Why's that?
This is because of its coverage moves, like Power Whip.
Mm.
Okay, you beat Swampert like really nicely. Okay. Also,
But so does
you
Dragonite.
have. I know, but you have. You have play against Walrein too because of the Power Whip, right?
Yeah,
But you
that's
also
a big
have
deal.
play against some of the other water types, like let's say Gyarados. Um, what else takes super effective from? But the other thing about
Gyarados
Goodra
doesn't
too,
take super effective from Power Whip.
well, takes neutral. But the other thing is nice about it is you don't necessarily have to run Muddy Water. You can run Sludge Wave
Ah,
if you wanna like hit back against some fairy types. You can also run Draco Meteor if you want to try to nuke some. So like I have sometimes run Goodra as a safe swap with Power Whip Sludge Wave. So if they bring in like maybe like a double dragon strategy, if they bring in a fairy type, you can land a Sludge Wave on it and like try to flip that matchup possibly.
and I suspect that people would shield a lot less against Goodras, knowing that the normal move is Muddy Water. Or the most common
Muddy
move.
Water Power Whip,
Yeah.
right?
Because like, unless you're in against the Swampert's gonna shield just as much as any other Pokemon would.
Swampert matchup is a little bait dependent as well, I would say,
Sure.
because Earthquake hurts. And so it's kind of like, are they going to shield them? Usually they shield because it is a Power Whip, right? It's a pretty safe bait. Like it's like the Lickitung versus Swampert matchup. Like they're going to throw the Body Slam, you're going to shield the Body Slam. Because if they throw the Power Whip and you don't shield it, the matchup's over, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you can survive one. So and like you can see it's losing to Trevenant, but maybe versus a Trev, they think like, oh, I don't have to shield like a Sludge Wave or a Draco Meteor, or they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So you could possibly flip that matchup with that.
I don't like that it's losing to the counter users, where your Dragonite would.
Well, Dragonite's flying. That's the difference, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you're
is still kind of dicey for Dragonite, but his superpower is probably a lot better now. Because if you land a Mega Horn, you can almost counter down basically after.
Is that right? Wow.
On a Shadow Dragonite, yes.
Yeah, which would be the most common one.
You don't want a Drill Run. You want a Mega Horn.
Yeah, of course.
Flying type. That's another reason Mega Horn's good.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I do have a Goodra built. I think it's good for this, but it also is really good in Premier. So keep this in mind for when Premier comes back later this, because I was using it as a Dragon type that also has good play against Jellicent as well, because of the Power Whip. Whereas some of the other dragons struggle because Jellicent's so bulky.
So are you actually thinking you are gonna, if you do bring a dragon, you're gonna pick Goodra over your Como and your Dragonite?
No, because I'm probably not gonna run a dragon. I already have two teams built that I've ran previously in this meta that have worked pretty well. I've hit Legend and Beyond with them, so I will probably just run those teams back and see how they do.
Gliscor is another Pokemon that would cover both Nitto Queen and Trevenant quite nicely, but be weak to Swampert. Like, I feel like these top three, Trevenant, Nitto Queen, Swampert, together cover everything. Like, I don't think there's really much that can take on all three of these, right?
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, let's play this game.
Possibly. Okay, so one issue for Trev Swampert would be it would be because there is Pokemon that break all the cores. So of the cores of 2, so you would be ABA weak to something.
Yeah.
Like I have an Abomasnow for Premier Classic. That would beat Swampert and Trevenant, right? But it would lose to Nitto Queen.
I mean,
but you're still doing super effective
wouldn't
damage.
Lose badly to Nitto Queen.
I hope Walrun's not very popular, so I can bust out my my Abomasnow again because I love that thing. But it's just the Walrun was too popular.
You know what? Like Abomasnow,
This is you know this is the Yes or Lead BBML 1 2 3 team building strategy, right?
All right. So, do you want to take a pick? Like, is there anything that will come up as beating all three of these in the one shield?
Maybe Abomasnow.
Let's see.
Possibly. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
Look at that A for coverage with those three, and A for safety. I don't mind that. Just Walrein and Lapras. Abomasnow, it says, loses to Nitto Queen in the ones. That's a combination of ones and zeros, though.
It's Shadow Nitto Queen as well, or Abomasnow. Regular Abomasnow's down lower also loses to them. So,
but I'm liking Lapras. I'm interested that the Shadow Lapras beats Trevenant.
Yep, the regular Lapras probably loses.
That is with Surf Skull Bash.
With the Ice Shard, you don't need... The Ice Shards do so much damage, right? You can just surf it at that point.
9%, so 11 Ice Shards. Takes it out.
Yeah, Ice Shard is a pretty high damage move, right? High damage, high energy. I'm guessing that the regular loses, but that's okay. Yeah, so Gliscor definitely interesting. Also, another one you need to be careful with. It can potentially go into the XL realm. So you need to be careful with that.
Yep, you're right.
So the rank 1 is 1,
yeah, 1, 15, 14.
So if you have a 0, 15, 15, it probably will not. Or if you have, like, not everyone has, like, 15 defense and HP, right? Maybe they have, like, a 1, 8, 7.
Yeah.
So that one for sure would require some XLs to get it up to 2,500, so... Okay, I think Walrun and Shadow Walrun basically the same.
Sure.
Like, not too much difference. Shadow Gyarados is my preference over regular Gyarados, and I think it's very strong. Because you do have coverage against a lot of things. And despite Luxray's high ranking, I don't think there's a lot of electric types in the meta.
Sorry, I'm just thinking. I'm still back on Gliscor.
You still love Gliscor?
I'm still liking it, but I'm just wondering what to put it with, because obviously you're gonna get crushed by a Walrein and you're gonna get crushed by a Swampert. So what are you gonna put with it to cover those two?
A Hundo level 41 Ferrothorn.
Let's do it. Where is Ferrothorn actually? 138. Score of 78.3.
Not horrible score. Like, shows how deep the meta is, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So I tend to I tend to look at anything above 82 as being viable. And there's a lot.
So we're down at Pinsir. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a deep meta. 100. That's a Hundo Drifblim.
Yeah.
Miltank's
there.
Crobat. I do have a Crobat, which is a very common pick in this league. Yeah, you could run like a double flyer strat to like bait out like a wall run. This is Ultra League Premier Classic.
Fire.
I can't read the name.
It's in the title, guys.
Is it?
Should be, unless I made a mistake. There we go. We've even got the specific version of Ultra League Premier Classic.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think Gliscor, you need something for maybe Trev then could be okay. Like
So Warrain would still be a bit of an issue. Gallade, yes.
Could be interesting. J. Robin Stacks, hello, welcome in.
Let's give him a shout
This
out.
guy. Yeah, Gallade is. I still think the Walrein matchup is kind of tricky because Gallade is just like glassy, right? But
And I think wouldn't Gallade beat Gliscor? Particularly the regular Gliscor? Wouldn't Gliscor beat Gallade?
It's probably close. It's
Check
probably
that
a
out.
pretty close matchup, just because of the leaf blades, I would guess. But I would say Gliscor definitely probably wins. Yeah, it's pretty
Gliscor
close.
does win, but it is close, yeah.
Because Wing Attack is really trash. Like, let's not forget, it's not a very good move in terms of damage. It's okay, energy generation wise, but it doesn't really do a ton of damage, right? Even super effective Wing Attacks.
So then, Gallade, Gliscor core.
Yeah, I think that could work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, you'd still kind of worry about the Walrein against the
think
Gallade.
Walrein would still be a little difficult to handle. You could maybe pair it with like maybe like an Excavalier or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I would be. The flyers would still be tough. Like maybe like a Dragonite or or like Charizard or something would still be annoying. Heaven forbid they have a waterfall Gyarados.
And also
Be in trouble.
Swampert. Can't Swampert beat Gallade in the twos?
It's just Gallade's glassiness,
Yeah.
right? So you could like a Shadow Swampert for sure will like one shot it with an Earthquake.
Or even just like, because it takes 12 turns to get to each Leaf Blade. It's only taking 10 turns to get to the first Hydro Cannon and 8 to get to the second. So I think it actually like gets to that last Hydro Cannon. You can go straight Hydro Cannon if you time it right to get that KO before they get to that third Leaf Blade.
So you test it out for me and then get back to me on that.
Luckily, no testing needed.
Escav doesn't beat Swamp. Yeah, I know it doesn't, but it's it takes a skilled Escav player, JRS. You would know because I know you're a skilled Escav player.
Yeah, there you go. 3 Leaf Blades and 4 Hydros. So same number of turns, but you would lose CMP.
All skilled Escav players know that you should hope the Swampert no shields the Mega Horn so that you can farm down, and then that's your only hope against beating it.
Okay, so can I just retract everything I said? Can we just rewind the last 2 minutes of conversation?
I'm always right, and Fish is always wrong, right? we already knew this, so.
Absolutely, Rhonda. You can absolutely feel free to do that. We've also got. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the Pallet Town PvP community, where there is a lot of people there who are always willing to answer questions. Most often it's me, but yes, like everyone there's got a great attitude about helping each other grow. So check that out, or just DM me personally. That is also fine.
DM him, try to sell some sort of stuff. It'll be a fun time.
Sell some stuff.
Yeah. Try to sell your services. It's good. He loves it.
Yeah. Lyle does too. I've seen how receptive he is to people jumping into DMs and selling him stuff.
I just refer them all to Fish. I just say, if you need to talk to someone, please talk to Fish, and
Fish.
I'll be good.
Looking forward to playing some Escavs. How do I join?
I know JRS is a big Escav fan. I watched a lot of his streams, and as he would say, you can't tell me this Pokemon's not busted.
Just click that link, Cray.
Yeah, click the Discord link,
Yeah, it
and it
should
will
work.
bring
Should
you
bring
right
you straight
over.
in.
I think you need the Discord app probably, but other than that,
So now I'm doubting myself over whether the GoCast community is where I know Cray Flamingo from, because I'm sure I've seen that name on Discord.
no idea. I'm at a loss for words.
All right, so Gyarados Shadow is ranked higher than regular. We haven't seen Gyarados yet. And Dragon Breath, no ridiculous waterfall shenanigans happening.
No, you probably definitely want Dragon Breath.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of steel types, right? Like I guess you have the what is that one called? Steelix and maybe Magnezone. Other than that, there's not a ton of steel. So
and waterfall ain't gonna help you
X
against Magnezone.
Oh, it actually does help a little bit,
Yeah?
but not a lot.
Couldn't they just
Well-
like one shield farm down?
Shadow, yeah, they pretty much can. They're left with very low HP though at the end with waterfall. At least in, I don't know the matchup as well as I do in Ultra or as Master League, because that's more like Gyarados Magnezone is more of like a
More common there.
Master League Premier Classic matchup, right? But
Yeah.
I
Would
never saw anyone running Lucario.
what
in
would
this
you
cup
pair that one
ever.
with? I'm still thinking Gyarados. What would you pair that with? Like a fighter?
Gyarados, I really like it paired with Excavalier.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Or Bomb Snow are two things that I really possibly Walrein if you want to get crazy. Then you're a little weak to electric, but again, like I said, I don't think electric's super common.
I don't think that'll be particularly common in this meta.
Like you might lose like a game every like couple sets, be like, oh shit.
they brought out
have, like,
Arcanine.
Yeah, they have a Fire Fang Arcanine, and I'm in trouble. But like other than that, you'll probably be well, unless Thunder Fang Steelix starts becoming a thing, then you might have to rethink your strategies.
I doubt that'll happen anytime soon. I did
That-
use it for a little bit in Great League as an Azu counter. Back before Dragon Tail was buffed, I think. So it was that long ago.
Yeah, that was its only really good move back in the day, right?
I
think Gyarados is very just any sort of like anti flyer. Like I said, Escav, even you could pair it with like a fighter type, but then like Gallade versus Gyarados is also kind of awkward because especially Shadow, because that fast move damage does so much.
Yeah. And we were talking about counter users. I'm gonna skip over. I guess we can forget about Magnezone and then talk about these three counter users back to back in Lucario, Shadow Champ, and Blaziken. Now, Surfetched was a fair amount higher than those, and so is Escav.
Yep.
Like, is there any reason that you'd take one of these three over Surfetched or Escav?
Yeah. Escav is best with a flyer, protects you against flying, fire, and fighters. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a very strong pair. I like it depends. You could run like a double fighting strategy if you wanted to with Surfetched Machamp. I prefer Machamp. Lucario loses to all the other fighters, right?
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it's slightly better against Gallade. I have no idea. That would probably be a bit of an awkward matchup.
Which one against Gallade?
Lucario. I don't know the Ultra League. I remember that was in Hisui Cup. The Gallade Lucario matchup was quite common, but I don't remember seeing that in Ultra League ever.
How does Lucario go against Trevenant? Like, could it tank a Seed Bomb bait?
It's just a bait Pokemon, right?
So Lucario loses to Gallade. pretty badly. Oh, this is in the twos. Hang on.
Would Registeel, would Steelix work? Yeah, like Trev, basically with any sort of anything weak to fighting is pretty good. You would be a little bit weak to fire, but again, I think you're probably okay. Yeah, that
Because
team
yeah, how
probably
much
sounds
fire
okay.
would there be apart from Charizard?
Charizard, and most people are running Wing Attack.
Yeah.
So on other, like, you just shield the Blast Burn and you're okay. Yeah, that team sounds like the core seems like it could work pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy these like really bait dependent Pokemon.
I don't mind them,
with
to be honest, because like it allows you to, like, if you've got Pokemon that get wins with bait dependent strategies, then that can allow you to overcome needing alignment. Like I'm so like most of my GBL battles, I'm like, well, I've got to get alignment. That's my strategy. Like, match the Pokemon up that against the Pokemon that it definitely beats. But if you're running Pokemon that can flip things when they land baits, then that stops you from having to rely on alignment as much.
More so, like, I don't want to use something reliably as a counter to something when I have to bait, right?
Yep.
Like, if I'm saying like, oh, this beats this, I want it to be able to beat it like cleanly, as opposed to like being bait dependent. Having the ability to flip a matchup is fine, right? But
yeah, that's fair.
I think of that more separate, as more of like a safe swap option, where you can reset alignment, like you're saying, right?
Fair call.
So Lucario could make a very nice safe swap, possibly. But I think there's going to be a heavy fighters in the meta, so
and
it's usually a fighting heavy meta.
I think Lucario's still particularly Lucario, I think, is still too glassy to allow it to get to that Shadow Ball. Like, even if you do successfully bait, like, it's going to be hard to get to that Shadow Ball in the end anyway. So then we've got Crobat.
Yep.
And we talked about Gliscor as a nice flyer that covers like a couple of these top picks. Crobat would also cover Trev and Queen.
Yep.
Would do a little better against Swampert, but not great.
Yeah, not great because you have Poison Fang, but you do have the Shadow Ball potential.
And it's not super effective. It's not weak to Hydro Cannon.
You do have the Air Slash, which is doing more damage, but it's not quite as good of a move in terms of energy generation. It's 3 turns. I do have a Shadow one. Rank 21 Trev. Make sure it's non-XL if you want to use it in this cup. If you're talking about just open Ultra League, then yes, you can probably build that one, or you can also probably check Swag Tips. I'm sure he has some video out there.
No one does what Swag Tips does, as far as I'm aware. Like those insane deep dives on IVs.
No one does them, or no one uses those Pokemon?
No one, as in content creators. I don't think anyone does the same kind of content that he does.
No, he's very unique.
Yeah.
I was actually using one of his high attack Malamars in the Psychic Cup, and it was really good because I could win CMP reliably over Victini.
Wow.
So if they threw the V create, I could let it one go and then win CMP, because they usually try to back to back, right?
Yeah.
So I could basically guarantee not having to shield in that matchup.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Which was pretty nice. Yeah.
Is it, how much about the IVs do you know here, where could you get one that would be an XL Trev for Ultra League and just power it up to 40 and just have that little gap of CP?
It probably could work. You're probably missing maybe 1 or 2 small things.
Yeah, a couple of breakpoints.
I don't think it would matter. Like for me, my Ultra League Trevenant is a lucky. I think it's like a 14, 15. So It's nothing special,
Yep.
but it was cheap and it does the job. It works in both Premier, Classic, and regular Ultra League. So and it's
So
ranked
worth it.
very highly, right? So I think it's better to have one than not have one if you really want to use it, I would say.
Yeah. And Cubone, it sounds like that Trev that you want to use is fine anyway. If it goes to 2487 non-XL, you could maybe fit one more power up in. Probably not, I'd say. So it sounds like that's definitely the way to go, yeah. We've gotten to Charizard, another flyer.
For Crobat, I would say
yep.
I personally prefer the Shadow.
Okay.
But I guess the regular here is ranked higher, but because you're mainly getting the like Poison Fang and the Air Slash damage. So I just the Shadow helps a little bit with increased Air Slash damage.
Alright, so yeah, then Charizard? Shadowzard in particular?
So this one I prefer regular Charizard. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why.
How about Dragon Breath instead of Wing Attack?
You could. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to use it as like an anti-fighter, I would definitely suggest Wing Attack. Also, Wing Attack generates energy quicker, which allows you to get to the Blast Burn. Yeah, it's kind of 50-50. There's not a ton of dragons in the meta, but there's also not a ton of steals. So you could probably go with either or depending on what you want to use it for.
Yeah, what your plan is. I like Dragon Breath is I would say a lot more balanced, where like we've talked in the past about how like we like Pokemon that have the flexibility of being able to apply fast move or charge move pressure.
The nice thing about Charizard is that Blast Punch just does so much damage.
Yeah.
You don't need to necessarily worry about the fast move pressure because it just like one-shots things, so.
Well, you might be in plenty of situations where...
And Wing Attack is better for Trevenant as well.
Wing Attack is better for Trevenant, I agree.
Which is kind of a big matchup. Very important matchup.
Yeah.
Charizard v Trevenant, like fire, flying versus grass, ghosts, so.
Dragon Breath, I mean, we're starting to get into a lot more specific scenarios here, but like there's situations where you might be locked in against a Swampert, like end game, it's Charizard versus Swampert, you've got your two shields. You can like double shield farm down with Dragon Breath where you couldn't with Wing Attack. Yeah. Wing Attack better for fighters.
Like I said, it just depends on what you're using Charizard for. Like I like Jairus is saying, if you pair Charizard with Excavalier, I would lean towards the Wing Attack because it's just a little more balanced. But maybe if you pair it with, let's say, maybe like a Swampert or something, maybe you want just better general coverage against like dragons and stuff like that. I don't know. They could both work in different scenarios, but I usually am running Wing Attack. And like I said, I do have a non-Shadow Charizard build. I don't have a Shadow build for Ultra League, so.
So now I think we are getting to ones that we can start skipping over. Toxicroak is interesting.
If Doms was here, he would be pissed. But for me, I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Doms. Machamp, honestly, you could run Shadow or regular Machamp.
Is that right?
Of note, if they're running a regular Machamp, I would say they're more likely to have payback. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, fair.
If you are going against, if you have a Trevenant, if they build to 9, I think it's 9. It's either 8 or 9. I can't remember.
9 is 63 energy. Payback is 60, right?
If they do 9 counters, you can probably shield your Trevenant.
Toxicroak is probably the only fighter that can pretty comfortably beat Nitto Queen.
Yeah, and the other fighters as well. People sometimes use like for the team with like, let's say Snorlax and I don't know, something else weak to fighting in the back, let's say, right?
Mm.
They would use like Toxicroak in the lead so that you could also beat the other fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But then you are adding weaknesses to like Swampert.
We've got the Charmers in Togekiss and Sylveon. Is there much play for Charmers in the meta?
People will be charming.
People will be charming.
They
I
always are
agree.
charming.
They're always charming.
They will,
Yeah. Nothing can stop the Charmers.
A way. You could have a meta of pure poison types, and someone will find a way to fit a double charm team into there. Yesterday, I was battling in Weather Cup, and I went up against a streamer that will not be named, but he was running AVA double charm. It was awesome.
Which meta? The Weather Cup? No,
Weather Cup.
Wow,
he was running A9 lead with what was that? Sand Slash and Primarina.
Far out. That is so toxic.
A lot of fun. I should unfollow this person. I really had a bad time. So
you were saying Shadow Gallade you prefer over regular Gallade, or was it just for that one matchup?
I think it's just for certain matchups where you want to do confusion damage, right?
So Nitto Queen?
I've never used a Shadow Gallade before in Ultra League. Nitto Queen, maybe like Venusaur. Is better because you can actually like farm it down from full health with the Shadow.
How common do you expect Venusaur to be?
Classy as it is. I think decently common. Like it's pretty good.
It's good against all your counter users except for Tox and Escav.
Yeah, even Toxicroak doesn't want to take a Frenzy plant.
Yeah.
Escav is really the wall to it. Yeah, it beats like all the counter users. It would do okay against Steelix minus the Psychic Fangs. You just would have got to watch out with that. It would do well against even like Nitto Queen. You don't want to take a Frenzy plant on Nitto Queen, right?
No.
Trevenant does okay-ish. Has some play, so I think Venusaur is always good when it's eligible because it just wins like neutral matchups.
Yeah.
Anytime you can get it into like a neutral, and if Charm is popular, then it's gonna be good.
And we've mentioned Overquill. I think that's the first Dark Poison that we've covered.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it has the Aqua Tail.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice, low energy. I think it could be quite good. It beats Gallade, beats Venusaur, beats Trevenant.
Snorlax. Yeah. Sylveon. So beats your Charmers, beats your...
You have some play against Nitto Queen as a Dark Poison because of the Aqua Tail.
Yeah. Can it also know Poison Sting? Yeah, so you've got that flexibility there, whether you want to be real spammy or have it more balanced.
I think Java is better in general because it's not... I think it's like one fast move difference basically between your Aqua Tails, right?
Which adds up a lot over time.
Sure. But Poison Sting just does absolutely no damage.
Yeah.
You have no ability to farm anything, right? So there's definitely pros and cons to both. I think because I was using the Hisuian coefficient factions, and I think I prefer the jab on that one at least.
It would be pretty good against your Fires and your Charizard and Blaziken.
Yeah, like Machamp. It could do okay against.
I feel like it'd be neutral against Machamp. Hang on.
Yeah, but you still do okay.
Yeah, you do okay.
Like you're resisting the Leaf Blade and the Night Slash, right?
Yeah. So you're resisting both. Yeah, so it's real. I feel like that's a nice generalist in this meta. Like you've got a little bit of play against everything. It can flip battles against pretty much everything.
It's one of the more interesting new picks because, like you're saying, like with Komao and stuff, like they're kind of similar. Whereas this one is similar, but it's kind of different because the moveset is like completely different. So it does like different sort of things, right? I think it could be quite popular.
Obstagoon is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
It's got more losses than wins against the general meta.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Empoleon wouldn't be too bad. Also, thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate the compliment. Pleasure to help out. So, do you see much space for Empoleon?
It was always good in this meta, but
Yeah.
the only issue was Trevenant that kind of put a bit of a damper on it.
Yeah, I mean everything's got counters. The question is like whether it covers enough of the meta to still make it viable, and you just find something that covers the counters.
Okay. Yeah, I think, like I said, Empoleon's always good in this meta just because it's of the typing mainly.
You
Like,
could
the moves-
run like Empoleon Overquill, and then if you get your alignment right against your Trevenant, you're laughing.
Although both lose to fighting types.
Trevenant? No, Overquill. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
And Empoleon, like a Shadow Machamp would run through you.
Valid. So what would you pair it with?
Oh, Blaziken is fine for Empoleon.
Oh yeah.
Because I in the Weather Cup, I had a team where I was running Abomasnow and Empoleon in the back, and if it's a Blaziken lead, I'll just swap into Empoleon. Because like they don't, the waterfalls are doing more than the counters. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think, where is Empoleon ranked? Is it this low? Like, it used to be like really high up.
137 with a 78 rating.
Seems very low. I feel like it's going to be more popular
Okay.
in the PV Poke ranking.
Okay.
Because it's always popular in this meta, you know?
Now I can hear you getting
Like,
tired. How much further do you want to go here?
We can go a little bit further.
Yeah, sure.
I would just say I would rather build a team around Empoleon than Haunch Girl. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about
sure.
PV Poke ranking. So, Snorlax again. I would prefer Shadow. Beware is interesting.
Yeah.
Like that would do pretty well against Trevenant.
It's got 2 double resisted charge moves though. I doubt you're running Payback. Or maybe you would run Payback. Actually, I mean, if in any meta, this might be the one to run Payback, to be honest. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, so of course it's good against your Trevenant. You'd probably be okay with Stomp against your Dragonites. You want Stomp against
you could probably just farm down Trev.
Just farm it down?
Stomp.
Just stomp and
farm. Stomp it. You just stomp it a couple times. It's like the Snorlax matchup, right? You just throw a couple body slams and you lick it down.
But Snorlax has the bulk to be able to farm a lot more effectively.
That is true.
I mean, 3705 isn't that bad.
That's with Payback. You have Payback there.
Yes, I do. Oh, there's Drain Punch. Drain Punch, let's go.
Yeah.
So it wins throwing the stomps, but with 21 HP left, can you afford to... With the 0 shields?
0 shields, does it lose?
It wins,
it still wins
every shield situation except the 0-2, interestingly.
So, looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks alright.
How about Drain Punch? You can just Drain Punch the thing to raise your defense, right?
Let me just try this. Okay, so you can farm down and come out with 64 energy. Yeah, so that's nice. Yeah. But then with Drain Punch. Superpower Drain Punch?
Straight Drain Punch.
Just nothing else. So
you're just gonna Drain Punch the Trev. Let's go.
Beware wins in every shield situation.
And then you come out with like a 3 times defense buff, and then you can start stomping things, right?
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
There you go. It's good for one specific matchup, and that's it.
The Lyle strats.
That's it. It's only good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just scroll down and see if there's anything else
I mean,
interesting we
you
see.
could do that against Steelix too.
You could, but they also have,
Psychic Fangs.
Psychic Fangs,
Yeah.
which is going to be debuffing you.
Gengar.
Gengar is down here and it's always good.
Yeah. It would be nice in the early game against Trev and Nitto Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And Escav.
Yeah, Gengar is good. It's ranked a little lower here, but it's always good in this meta. Lapras as well is always good.
Yeah.
Mach, very popular pick because of the coverage. The Dark Pulse Thunder Punch, Kanto Mach, even Shadow you could run.
Just quickly with Gengar, Sludge Bomb or Shadow Ball? Or Focus Blast?
I think it just depends on if you're using it as a swap.
Mm.
If you're using a safe swap, you probably want some sort of coverage move on it.
Yeah.
But if you're using it as a closer, you could probably run double ghost.
Double Ghost, yeah. So yeah, Mark with the Poison Jab, Thunder Punch, Dark Pulse, that's
This
nice
is a
coverage.
new one here. Arangaroo.
Ooh.
Hundo. You need a Hundo?
That's a Hundo? Yeah, that's a Hundo.
Arangaroo. Yep.
Gets up to 2450 as a Hundo.
I have a 98. I think it has some play because it's a psychic type, but it takes neutral from counters. So it's a normal type. Sorry, it takes neutral from counters. So like you can see, it beats Trevenant, can beat Nitto Queen,
And Swampert.
it beats Swampert. There you go, Arangaroo. We found it.
We've done it.
Yep.
A Mega Horn would just capitulate it.
Yeah, it doesn't do very good against the steel or the dark
No.
types, right? But it definitely is a very interesting pick. I think it's clumsy according to them.
Yeah, anything with like really long, fast moves tends to be clumsy.
Well, if you want to just take a minute, I can just show you some of the teams that I was looking at running.
Yep.
And
How do you want to do it? Do you want to?
we could just go to Team Builder if you want.
Yes.
It's fine. So I had two teams. Well, three possible teams, but one has just a different lead. So.
Go.
So one team that this is a tried and tested legend team. It is a Nitto Queen lead with Stone Edge because I'm using it as an anti-flyer. And then we have Surfetched and Machamp.
Ooh. Leafberry Bradebird?
I was running it with Night Slash for the longest time. I think I'll stick with that just because of the Excavalier. And I was actually using regular Machamp with Payback, but you could probably use a Shadow Machamp with Rock Slide as well. So you can already tell there is one core breaker for this team.
That'd be Gallade.
Yeah, that's the only thing that
Huge one.
is very tough to deal with. But as we saw before, the Nitto Queen Gallade matchup isn't horrible.
Oh, that's a lot of blue. So opposing
No.
Nitto Queen.
Are you in Premier Classic for this?
I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, Premier Classic Ultra
Okay.
League. So opposing
Don't
Nitto
always
Queen is
trust
an issue,
scams.
Gallade is an issue, Gliscor is an issue.
Honestly, I never see Gliscor. I don't know. Like, I don't think... I have Stone Edge, which is something. You can hit it with a Stone Edge.
Yeah, that's true.
I
think...
From my personal experience, Gallade and opposing Nitto Queens are the biggest pain in my ass.
Yeah.
Because you don't have Earth Power. I just bait every time I go to 8. I throw the Poison Fang. I just no shield. And then I hope I can clean it up with like Surfetched or something, right?
Yep. So Rangaroo you won't see much, Rapidash you won't see much, Dragougi is interesting.
That's a hundo. I don't think you're going to see that much
Sure,
of it.
Koffagrigus, I think that's also a hundo.
Yeah, a lot of these ones where he's thinking like the Tentacruels, Jellicents,
Yeah.
they're like all hundos, right? So I don't think they're going to be super common.
Yeah, so that, I mean, yeah, apart from like right up the top, these counters
I would
aren't
say
that bad.
Gallade and Nitto Queen are the two hardest ones to deal with. Also another annoying one is Kanto Muck.
Ah,
The dark poisons aren't so bad because I can deal with them with the fighting types,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the pure poison types are very annoying because I don't have. But you need the Stone Edge for the flying types. It's more of a problem that for like Charizard or um Gyarados or something like that, right?
Trev is also a reasonably big issue.
Yeah, that's why I was running actually Payback on Machamp
Yeah,
for
yeah.
which actually does help against with the Nitto Queen matchup as well, because you can pay back the Nitto Queen.
Yep.
So
And yep, do you actually flip that one against the regular Nitto Queen if you land the payback?
doesn't I'm not sure with Shadow Machamp because I was running with regular Machamp. All I will say is this team does look a little funny, but I've hit Legend with it like twice on my alt account, and I've used it quite a few times on my main, and it's pretty solid if you learn the matchups. Because Sirfetch and Machamp are just like overpowered, so and a lot of the things they lose to, Nitto Queen can help deal with.
Yeah, I'm really interested by that because, like we just saw, like it's got some pretty big holes, and like I believe you that you do well with that team. It's just
some of the strangest teams are the best ones.
Yeah, right,
So,
right. What else have you
yeah,
got?
but if there is a Gallade, we most likely lose.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, not every team has a Gallade on it. So
No.
And my second team is Excavalier. It's a Escav double flying team.
So
normal movesets.
Charizard?
We have Charizard and Gyarados.
And the Gyarados is Shadow.
Charizard and Shadow Charizard. I was using Dragon Tail. You can use Dragon Breath. They're pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah. And of course, Hydro Pump over Aqua Tail, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Shadow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can figure out any holes to that. Any kind of ghost might present any issues.
I was doing a practice with someone earlier today, and they had a Snorlax double poison, and it was Snorlax, Gengar, and Mach. Kanto Mach, and I lost that game.
I mean, that looks pretty solid to me. Coverage doesn't agree.
We don't listen to people.
Yeah. So Trevenant is the biggest one. It says Trevenant's beating the Charizard and the Gyarados. Interestingly.
Those are with Bates.
Yeah.
But what I've found is like, usually I'll switch into one of my swap Shadow Gyarados. If they stay in, that's fine. I usually no shield. They pretty much always seed bomb, and then I can get off a crunch, and they have to shield. And at that point, they have to throw another seed bomb, or else I can like get to another move. And then from that point on, I can basically I have 2 shields for my Charizard, and I can basically just like farm them down, and then they have 1 shield left, and whatever in the back, you just blast burn the crap out of them.
Coyote 999 says any team comp for Shadow Gallade, please. Well, I like the manners, so let's reward that with a quick rundown of what we were talking about.
As you can see here, the big core breakers for this team are electric types, right? So, which, in my opinion, is not super common. And then Machamp, it says they all lose to them. Okay, sure. It's just PvPoke's rankings. From my experience, these are 2 really strong teams.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
If you want better Trevenant coverage, and if there's less wall run in the meta, and you want better Trevenant and electric coverage, you can also run like an Abomasnow in the lead as well.
Yep.
With these 2 back line, which gives you similar coverage, but gives you better coverage against Trevenant.
I am liking Abomasnow, not only for its matchups against your Trebs, your Swamperts, and even your Nitto Queens, but also because like a lot of those fighters are glassy enough that they're flippable with weather balls.
Yeah, make sure you best buddy it. I don't.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now what CP it gets to because I have mine best buddied right now. This is my Mega Abomasnow. It gets to 20. What is it? 2392 with best buddy.
Yeah, right.
That's the hundo.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem?
That it gets that low. That it doesn't get any higher than that.
That's not too bad. 2392. It's like basically 2400.
Basically.
Think about
which is basically 25.
Yeah, you round up. Just round up to 25, right?
So just for Coyote, we'll revisit Shadow Gallade. The what are we putting with Shadow Gallade again? Like we got to worry about the Trev. So
yeah,
like a dark
before
Pokemon.
The classic team was like Empoleon, Gallade, Machamp, but you can't do that anymore because of the Trevenant. So you could try to run like
Alolan Muck
and Gallade. I think Alolan Muck or like anything that can handle Trev. So like and also flying types would be nice too. So I think like a Walrein, Walrein Gallade Core. Again, difficult for that would be like Escav. Something like that, right? You could also maybe run it with a flying type, maybe like a Charizard.
A Charizard.
Gallade,
Let's
because Charizard. Because that can handle the fairies. Because also you have to remember Gallade's not only weak to ghosts but also weak to fairies, right? So like Charizard can help with Trevenant a little bit and also the fairy types.
Yep.
So you think that could be a strong pair. Trev Core, I think you're just too weak to fire. Trev Walrein, or as the other person was saying, Trev.
Well, both Trev and Abomasnow have some play. Like, I think Trev Charizard is the same as Trev Talon, isn't it? Where like it can win if it lands the bait, and then like Abomasnow again against Charizard.
Yeah, they have to land a Shadow Ball.
So like it's got play. Like you're basically putting yourself in a very compromising situation with the understanding that like if you play it right, you can get out of it.
I feel like also both those are weak to flying types. So it's a little trickier against like a Crobat or something like that. Like even though Abomasnow is ice type, like Crobat would be kind of annoying. Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they could definitely work. Or as the other person was suggesting, like Steelix could also work well with Trev.
Yeah.
Gallade as well. Any sort of anti-charm and anti-Trev. So I think Charizard fits that bill pretty well. Is just a general like safe sort of answer to both. Not exactly dominating, but playable.
Yeah.
And let me think if there's anything else I can think of as an answer.
An answer to which one?
To Gallade's weaknesses.
To Gallade weaknesses, yep.
You go to the team builder quickly, just adding Gallade as the only
So
thing.
clearing this.
No problem, Casa.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great night.
Our pleasure. So Gallade.
Gallade.
Shadow.
Yes. Shadow, is that what they said?
Yes.
Okay, Shadow. Okay.
So yeah, the Steelix, the Nitto Queen. I like the Nitto Queen. But you'd want the Steelix.
Nitto Queen, that's what I'm saying. Nitto Queen pairs well with fighting types.
Shadow
Nitto
Bomber.
Queen Gallade could work as well. Shadow, again, the shadows are a little tougher to get for these ones because you do need close to hundos, right?
Yeah.
But I think Nitto Queen is a good one. Or a Steelix or possibly Charizard, something like that. because Nitto Queen is also an anti-fairy, right? And also has play against Trevenant, especially if you're running Stone Edge.
And you've got to be able to beat, if you're running Shadow Glade, you've got to be able to beat Trevenant.
Yeah. And also the Gallade has a much better matchup against the other poison types than some of my other ones. So.
And so, did you have any other teams that you wanted to take a look at?
Those were
Those
it,
were the
really.
two.
I could. Yeah, those are the ones that I have been running previously. So I'm not quite sure how if the meta's gonna shift at all.
Yeah.
With the new mons, but those worked well for me previously. Both those lines.
Yeah.
So.
I'm liking the Escav Gyarados core that was mentioned earlier. And then
which I was using too, right?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. What would be the third? What were you using as your third?
I was using Charizard.
Yeah.
You could probably use some other stuff too. Like you could probably use like Nitto Queen.
Yeah. I mean, I
like that. Like
Escav, Gyarados, Charizard are 3 Pokemon that I actually have built. Because I've been talking about, yeah, I'd love to use this, but like I've got very few Ultra League Pokemon builds, so I'm gonna have to be particular about it.
Yeah, if I go to my Ultra League list here, like I have quite a few for this Premier Classic.
Yeah, nice.
So Samurott, we could try Samurott out.
Let's go.
It's busted.
Busted.
Roserade, interesting pick. Could also have play against Trevenant. And, you know, with the Fire Weather Ball. Could be something.
Poison Jab or Bullet Seed?
I think it's dealer's choice on that one. Mine currently has Poison Jab.
Cool.
But I think
you only have one built?
I only have one built for Ultra League. I have 2 built for Great League.
I've got one built for Master League.
Great League. You do?
Yeah. I've got like 4 Master League Pokemon built, and one of them was that. You know why? Because of the Dump Stardust reward. We span it up on the big wheel. And Master League Roserade came up.
I have a rank 17 Roserade here. I could power up.
For Ultra.
It's only gonna cost. Oh, it's gonna cost way too much.
How much do you have?
It'll 350.
Oof, yeah. Yeah,
the
we gotta be
Roserade I
careful.
have right now is a rank 1. It's a 0, 13, 15, I think. And it has Poison Jab because when they had the community day, they it was before the Poison Jab buff, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, the Bullet Seed was preferred, and then it became sort of like depending on what you wanted to use it for. So. All right. Well, I think that
I think we're done. Yeah.
covers most things. I hope that was helpful.
I think so. I've learned a lot, and it sounds like from the communication we've been getting that like others found it helpful as well.
Next time, I need to make like one of those meta charts like Yasser makes for his videos.
I don't think I've seen a Yasser meta chart.
It's sort of like it's just basically a bunch of Pokemon on a page.
Yeah.
And he says like core meta. And he just puts their pictures there, and he's like, this is, and then he's got like Spice core breakers, and he's got like a bunch of ones over here. And he's like, oh, this one's shit, but it breaks this one core. So maybe you want to try it if you're seeing these Pokemon a lot,
So we have to find someone to raid.
Okay, perfect.
Let's
see who's online.
We got Bubble Mouse. There's Wholesome. Doms is live.
Mamaclimbs, it's her birthday stream.
Oh, is
so
it?
I think you have to raid her. Wait, did you not wish Mamaclimbs a happy birthday yet?
I tagged her
Oh
in our
my god.
Discord, but no, I have
Yes,
not
I
gone
think
to
you
her channel.
have. She's been live for an hour and 40 minutes, but she's doing a
A
duo
duo?
with Decibel Viper,
Nice.
so it's probably gonna continue for quite a while longer. So I would
Yeah,
definitely
let's do
say
that.
her.
That's a good move.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and hopefully we will be back in like another week or two, whenever Fish decides you want to do the next custom meta.
Oh,
Which is
so
what,
what's the
Evolution
next one
Cup,
after this? Is that Evolution Cup?
which I
What
have no idea about yet.
Yeah, so that's why we got to do these meta breakdowns to work it out. Like I would have been pretty lost coming into this if we didn't do this today. So I'm really glad we
Oh,
did
really?
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Next week is Master League Premier Classic, actually.
oh, that's right. Yep,
It's
yep.
up to you. We can take a week off, or we can just jump right back in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will want to know what's good in MLPC.
Okay. Well, let me know. I'm available.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you so much, everyone, for coming out.
See you guys.